Have you ever wondered where exactly you are in the world? Well, maybe you know where you are, but has your project ever needed to know exactly where it is in the world? We use GPS as a very simple and effective way of finding out our position in the world. This particular GPS module is called the Ultimate GPS module by Adafruit. And the reason I like this one is because, number one, it can connect to 22 different satellites with 66 different channels. It has a real-time clock. It has a battery backup. And one of the reasons you have battery backup is because you can actually write up to about 16 hours worth of data right onto the little microcontroller inside this GPS. So it makes it super handy and very easy to work with. There are lots of other types. This is actually a really old GPS breakout shield that I used on a project many, many years ago. You can see how they're starting to get smaller. Another thing to note is that there are external antennas that you can plug into these micro connectors right here. This one's not really a great example because it's a very short wire and doesn't really help us too much, but you can get antennas that are 30, 40 feet long and run your GPS to outside of an enclosure or outside of a vehicle or whatever you might use this for. There are many different kinds of antennas. They all have different specifications, so make sure you get the right antenna for the breakout board that you decide to select. Now, one thing I will mention, this is not going to really pick up satellites indoors very well, and I've tested it inside my studio here, and I haven't been able to get a great signal, so we're not going to be able to look at that data. I have brought it outside and hooked it up to my laptop, and I've been getting a perfect coordinate system. I'll show you the sketch to be able to do that, and it gives you a longitude and latitude. Plug it into Google Maps and pops a little pin right in there for you. It's actually pretty cool. So let's start by hooking this up. It uses very few pins. We have a ground, over to the ground. We have a 5 volt voltage in. And then we have our RX, which is going to go to digital pin 2. And we have a TX, and that's going to go to digital pin 3. I'm going to go ahead and plug it in. It lights up so we know it's at least working for now. And let's load up the Arduino. Now, while that's loading up, one thing I do want to mention about GPS, they are actually regulated to how accurate they can be. You're not going to get high precision, but you are going to get within about 2 meters. So figure about 5 feet resolution of where this is. You're also not going to get super high velocities. Some of the reasons for that is because we simply don't want people making high velocity guided missiles. So there are some limitations to these GPS chips, but in most situations, within 6 feet is good enough, and the velocity is within about 1/10 of a meter per second for accuracy. Very cool stuff. So we have the Arduino opened up. Let's go to the libraries. And your GPS should have a library with it. This one happens to have the Adafruit library. I'm going to pick the latest install. Let's quit and reload it. And there's quite a few different examples in the GPS library. And when we go down to right here, you'll see there's ones for a Due and the Flora and a Leonardo and all different microcontrollers. And that's because of the way it communicates to the microcontroller. For ours, I'm going to just start with the Echo. And all that does is it pulls the GPS and gives you the raw data out. The one that you want to start using is the parsing. So once that's uploaded, you can go ahead and open up your serial monitor and you will get a longitude and latitude of your specific location. It works really well. You can then take that information and parse it however you'd like, whether it would be setting up a perimeter for your robot project or using telemetry to tell you where your UAV is. It works really well. It's quite reliable. Again, not hyper accurate, but accurate enough for your application. I demo it, but I know in this part of my house, I'm just not getting a signal.